What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
Hello, cadets, and welcome to another episode of General Howitzer's Big Monster Briefing Room. I'm General Lemuel T. Howitzer, retired. Let me bring up my able-bodied assistant, Major Millie Hazzard.
Hello, General. How are you doing today? I love that new opening. The pie is iconic. Everyone's going to be saying that to us. We'll be walking down the street. Someone's going to be yelling out at us. That's going to be the catchphrase. I already know.
Here we come, walking down the street. I knew that was in the back of your mind.
That's what I always think of. I'm always thinking about what the catchphrase is going to be, right? For anything.
Everyone we meet, hey, with a big monster briefing room.
Hey, with a monster.
And people say we're the last defense there.
We're the last defense you got. Now look.
I went down a road I could not go down smoothly.
Yeah. You couldn't go down. Now look at this thing here.
But what do you got, a kitchen back there?
No, this is the laboratory. I'm back in the lab. You know that.
Oh, okay. And what do you got there in your hand?
You see this? Diane Coll, who wrote our theme song, got this for me.
I thought that looked familiar.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, yeah, she sent me one that was a gnome whose head had been taken off. So, and you've got the polar bear with the decapitation.
I got
the brain taken out. Good, awesome.
Let me take a screenshot of us with our iconic mugs here.
All you gotta do. I don't have my no. I mean, I know the gnome mug is close. I think I have it at the desk here. But
okay, 1, 2, 3, monsters! Say no to monsters.
Cheers.
We want to remind
2023.
We got to remind everyone to follow us on the TikTok. You know, the TikTok. All the kids on the TikTok. We've been doing our own TikToks, right, General? Right.
And we're giving nice little tips on how to protect yourself from monsters. Every day we do a video, and sometimes it's you, sometimes it's me. And again, that's exciting. I'm really excited that we're hitting the young people at TikTok.
We're getting
and there's a lot of old people there too. I mean, a lot of people say it's a young person's platform, but there's a lot of old people there too.
There's old people there too, and some of the old people are actually some of the more popular people. So
they're doing a thing now where they say, if you were born in the '60s, show yourself, be proud.
And I saw Rory Penland did one. Rory Penland did one.
Rory Pendleton.
Pendleton. We can do some comments.
He told me once when we were drinking coffee together, he told me that they do that a lot. They'll call him Pennington, Pendleton. They mess up his name a lot. Even one time he went to a comedy club and they had him listed as Rory Penlano.
Penlano?
He was Italian.
What is Penlano?
He was Italian.
Maybe they feel like you won the lotto. That's actually.
You remember when we did 20 Million Miles to Earth and I was doing the Italian accent?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we got a cage here in my barn. It's just the right size for the monster.
What's it coming to go? That's the only thing I know.
What am I gonna do, huh? He's trying to kill my dog.
Give me the pasta primavera.
See, now that's bad Italian there when you start just listing off stuff off the menu. Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Hey, it's a cacciatore.
Tiramisu. There you go.
We're not trying to offend. We're not trying to offend the Italians at all. No.
The worst tiramisu I ever had in my life was in the shadow of the Colosseum. I have no idea why they served it to me. They took it out of a freezer and a package and threw it on my plate. Tourist trap.
At the Colosseum.
In the shadow of the Colosseum, just a stone's throw away, just a Rome stone's throw away.
That thing does cast a shadow. I've been there.
Me too. Yeah,
it does cast a horrific shadow. It really does, especially early in the morning when most tour groups go there.
Well, a lot of people died there. It's very eerie. There were a lot of big monsters that took place in that thing. Some very horrible people.
Yeah. There were a couple of monsters there. Bruce Lee had a fight with Chuck Norris there too. That was pretty epic. I was actually in the audience of that.
Are you serious?
I was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, he was ripping Chuck Norris's hair off his chest and everything.
Oh my gosh!
But Chuck Norris is still alive. So that should tell you something. Booyah!
That should definitely tell you something. Well, I need to see the video evidence of that. That sounds scintillating, General. I'm very excited.
That happened a couple of years before his death. Wow. Chuck Norris was hit with a 2.5-year fist thing, you know.
That is intensely.
You walk 550,000 steps. It takes about 2.5 years, and then all of a sudden you die. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, I'm just giddy, I tell you. Cadet Ross,
you need more of your peach
welcome.
tea.
Well, yeah, I've already drunk a half a glass, and we're still going through our first few minutes of the show. Our guest today is scare actor Dana Sampsell. He said he was going to be running a little late. He's going to try to teleport in during the show. And I say teleport because we are talking about the Fly, not the original Fly, mind you, but the 1986 David Cronenberg Fly, with Jeff Goldblum playing a fly.
I gotta tell everyone. Hold on, I gotta tell everyone. You gotta follow Emily Goldblum. That's his wife, spelled Emilie. You gotta follow her on IG, on Instagram. She posts all these crazy things that she and Jeff Goldblum do. They're a very happy couple. They go out and they dance in the street. She's very health conscious. They do weird shit, but it's very Jeff Goldblum. I'm very happy for him. It seems like he has a wonderful family life, and he deserves it because he's such a weirdo. I never thought he'd be able to have a normal life. But he has a normal life, and I'm very proud of him because a weirdo got to have a normal life. That's wonderful.
His wife at the time of this movie was the woman who stars in this movie, Gina Davis. She was an actress. They starred together in Transylvania 6-5000, fell in love, got married. They were married for like 4.5 years.
And she said recently that it was a wonderful, beautiful relationship. They speak very well of each other. They love each other still. It just wasn't great as a marriage, but they are still very, very friendly together.
And if you look up her history, she's been married like 5 times.
It's all right. It's all right.
Maybe it's her. I don't know. I hope not. Maybe she just needed to find the right guy. That was it. And Goldblum, I can't believe that Goldblum was not the right guy, but there it is.
But he
is quirky.
He settled down with Emily. And Emily was a dancer who was in the Olympics. That's what she's passionate about. And he met her at the gym.
Wow.
He just was at the gym and he saw her working out and he said, "You're beautiful," you know.
Wow. I was watching from the sidelines and I just noticed you dancing and I just thought you were just astounding.
It's almost identically what happened. That's what happened. And she wasn't out for some reason.
And how can you not fall in love with that? I mean, how can you not fall in love?
That's true. Yeah. He's very enchanting as an actor and a very gifted actor.
Yeah.
And he's unique, though. I mean, I don't think he does anything other than Jeff Goldblum. I think it's always Jeff Goldblum. But I love Jeff Goldblum.
This movie certainly is very horrific in the last 20 minutes, of this movie. After he's turned into he realized that he's turned into this fly creature. But the whole movie is really based on their relationship. In this film, and it's an amazing set of performances by her and by him, in the fact that they carry that first half of the movie, which is supposed to be a horror movie, with just all the character work, and then again he starts to change.
Oh, he changes. It's like Kafka metamorphosis. It's an epic change.
And this is perfect territory for Jeff Cronenberg. I know why Jeff Cronenberg got into this, because his movies before this were all about what can happen to you, what bad can happen to you if you have sex under the wrong conditions, and again, this is definitely, there's definitely some kind of the AIDS epidemic just started like 10 years before this. So there's definitely undertones of that in here. There's some commentary in his work, in his movies, about you better be careful, when you have sex with somebody you don't know. That's basically his message in his movies.
The irony about that is that although they made it particularly grotesque and they went into this other realm of science fiction, in real life, we could argue it's even more tragic. Sometimes who you choose to hitch your wagon to could be even more devastating. What Jeff Goldblum went through in this movie could be like peanuts compared to what real
Right.
happened. So,
I don't know. You're gonna see in the timeline it was pretty gnarly.
it's pretty gnarly. So I'm just gonna tell everyone, hold out. Hold
Yeah,
out.
by the way, this show is not for kids.
You have
We
words,
show things that are
hold out.
grotesque. We show things from horror movies that are rated R. And again, this show is not for kids. We also, spoilers. We're the Cliff Notes of horror films. We show everything from beginning to end in a timeline, 150, 160 slide timeline. So you're going to see everything about the film, and we're going to talk about it. So, okay, when Dana shows up, let him knock.
Knock
And,
3 times on the pipe if the answer is. Where's the Tony Orlando and Dawn?
We got to get going here because we got no icing right after this.
If the answer is no.
Okay, this is a little Tony Orlando for us. Thanks.
Tony Orlando and Dawn. Don't forget.
And Dawn.
But here's what we want to say.
What was Tony Orlando without Dawn? I ask you.
He was nothing without Dawn. Dawn was the whole thing, and Dawn was 2 people. Okay, now here's the thing.
Correct.
Right after this, at 7 o'clock, the top of the hour, you got to stay tuned here on Cosmos because Sandy D's, No Icing with Drita, starring Sandy D. Kate Bonhomm's going to be there.
Right.
Rory Penland, well, actually, it might not be Rory Penland, but Purple Terror is going to be there with his butt bite. That's what I heard. And just a bird told me that. Renee Yaworsky's going to be there. And Patty's going to be there to talk about a new show. That's Sandy D's mother. It doesn't get any better than that. So we got to just hang out, people. Just hang out, 7 p.m.
It's going to be quite the event. First show of the year.
Quite the event, yes. So,
all right. So this is a 20th Century Fox film, directed by David Cronenberg. This is a classic example of how to make a slick horror movie on a limited budget. There's probably only 7 or 8 sets in this movie. There's probably only 8 or 9 actors in this movie. I mean, he did a wonderful job of keeping the overhead down in this. And of course, he got actors Jeff Goldblum and his girlfriend Geena Davis. The Fly. The soundtrack of this is done by Howard Shore, who is the musical director for Saturday Night Live. I think this is one of the reasons why he lost his job at that, and other people took over. But it starts with a party, a science nerd party, and he meets with this news reporter. Hey, I've got to give in my own timeline here so that I can see the names. I'm just going to say Geena Davis because she's always Geena Davis to me. Oh my God, I had such a crush on her when I was younger. Okay, she is Veronica Quaife.
I don't know. I have
Quaife. Veronica Quaife.
We just call her Gina. We don't know. We don't do
Veronica.
anything other than Gina. It's just Gina.
Veronica. She's Veronica. So okay, his name is Seth Brundle. He's a scientist, and he tells her at this party, I'm going to create something that's going to revolutionize science as we know it today. And she's like, okay, all right. And then he kind of starts hitting on her. And then she starts to walk away. Goes, okay, well, I'll check it out some other time. And he's like, no. You got to understand what I'm doing is very important. It's going to change science as we know it. So he gets her into the car. She drives him to his place. He tells her he's car sick. This is why he's doing the research that he's doing. He gets air sick, car sick, sea sick. So he brings her in, and it's not a nice neighborhood. And she thinks, oh my God, this guy's a stalker, and he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension there. So they get into his place, and it's really weird looking. It's a warehouse kind of situation deal. And he starts playing piano. And now she's really creeped out. And then he talks her into, he says, look, I'll show you what these 2 pods are for. Designer pods, she calls them. Give me something that's distinctly you, and I'll put it in the pod, and I'll show you what it does. And so she gives him a stocking, which is an interesting choice. But she gives him a lace stocking. He puts it in the one pod. He sets up his computer, and boom, it disappears and shows up in the other pod. Teleportation. That's what he's into. But he tells her. And again, once she sees it happen, she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And she pulls out a recorder and she starts to record and he doesn't see it. There's the stocking coming out the other side. And the look on his face. See? Looks a little like Dennis Schmiller there. Hey, babe. So again, she's amazed by it. But he says, I can only send inanimate objects. I can't send things that are living through yet. The computer doesn't understand that yet for some reason. I don't know what I'm missing. So she pulls out a recorder, puts it in her pocket. She starts to record him. He doesn't realize she's recording. He tells her, that the company basically leaves him alone because he works cheap. And he's got a lot of background in he almost got a what is the Nobel Prize for science. But we don't find this out until later when her editor starts looking up things on him. But she has to pull the tape out to turn it over. And then he realizes she's recording. He's like, hey, you can't write about this yet. It's not ready yet. And it's going to kill me. And she goes, well, you can't tell me what I can't write. I'm a reporter. So you told me to come up here and look at this. This is news. So he has to let her go. And she goes to her editor. And he's played by John Getz. And his name is Stay This. Who would name their kid Stay This? Stay this Borans. It's a very nice.
Very bizarre.
Huh?
It's a bizarre choice for a child name. I'll just say that.
Stay this. She should teleport that name. Anyway, so Stay This is like he tricked you. He's a con man. He did a magic trick and you fell for it. And then he calls. Brundle calls them. And he goes, well, hey, he's on the line now. He wants to come up and talk to us. So he leaves them in the office. Stay This does. And he's like, well, you didn't take a lot of time. You work fast. And she's like, yeah, well, this is news. And he goes, look, I've got one word for you, cheeseburger. And he takes her to a diner. And over a cheeseburger, he tells her, look, this is what I want from you. Oh, back up. You don't want to spoil it too soon. This is what I want you to do. I want you to write my whole story like a book from beginning to end, how we do this, how we accomplish this, and we release it when the time is right. And she agrees to it. She goes, okay. And he says, you'll exclusively have the story and you'll be able to benefit from it. So she agrees to do that. So she goes home and Stay This is in her bath, in her shower. It turns out that he's her ex-boyfriend and he still has a key to her place. So that's kind of creepier than, going to the warehouse with Brundle. So anyway, he says, I checked up on your guy and he's not a con man. This guy's actually brilliant. And he goes, and whatever story you come up with, you got to keep me posted on it. And she's like, well, now I'm going to try to write his story and blah, 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 blah. So he's not happy about that she's not going to give him and his magazine the story first. So in the lab, they do an experiment where they send a baboon through the tube to see if he can crack the code on genetically getting a animal through the pods. And everything looks good at first. The computer graphics for this, you got to realize this is 1986. So usually movies around this time had really crappy computer graphics. And this is not bad, really. I mean, the computer graphics on this are not bad, even especially for 1986. So he goes to send the baboon through. She's recording, and the baboon is turned inside out. So it's a mess. And again, this is one of the first gory graphic kind of things that happen in the movie. And it's sad. He sent a baboon through, and it killed it. Hi, Clayton. Hi, Bob. Clayton, Julio is here. You're gonna have to read the credits because I'm on my phone. So
yes, we have Julio is here, Bob is here, David is here, Clayton is here, Mary, Lorraine, MM is here, Ruby Raymore is here. We got all the best people. Maddie.
Very good, very good. Welcome all of you. Happy 2023.
That's right. Pam and Maddie are both here, so we're doing great. All right.
So, yeah, he turned the monkey into a hamburger. It turned inside out. That's what he tells her when she's videotaping. She goes, "What do you think?" He goes, "Fuck is what I think," which is a great line. And he's all upset, of course, as you would be. I just killed a baboon. God damn it! So he goes to his bed is a sofa bed, one of those fold-out jobs. And, she's talking to him, and she finds out that she says, don't you ever change clothes? You're wearing the same clothes that when I met you a few days back. She finds out his closet is full of the same jacket, the same shirt, the same tie, same shoes. He wears the same thing every day, so he doesn't have to worry about what to put on, which is kind of weird, but kind of brilliant. So I like the idea. A lot of people tease me because I always wear the military t-shirts. But I try to, do a nice coordination with the cap. So there it is. So she goes, you're cute. And all of a sudden it takes a strange turn. She falls for Seth Brundle. And they get the Ficky walk on right there on the little sofa bed. And he's got something on his back, and she pulls it out. It's a little computer piece. Ouch. He goes, oh, I was looking for that. Which is a great line. And he gets an idea because she says the flesh makes us crazy, meaning horny. And he goes, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. And he goes and he cuts a couple of steaks. He cuts a steak in half. And he puts one piece of the steak through the transporter. And he makes her take a bite of the transported steak, which is, wow. Why do I have to eat this? And he wants her opinion on it. She goes, no, it tastes wrong. It tastes like synthetic. The computer doesn't understand the human body yet. It doesn't understand what the human body is about and how it makes us crazy, blah, 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 blah. So he says, okay, I'm going to spend all night working on this to try to get the equation right so I can send people and things through the transporter. And she goes out and she's glowing. She's smiling. She, who knows how long it's been since she, got a little Ficky Waka, and not realizing that her ex-boyfriend is right there at the corner watching.
What is Ficky Waka? I have to ask, what is Ficky Waka?
You don't remember what I said? My friend, Karen White, a very, very close friend, she used to call having sex Ficky Waka.
What is that? What is that from? What's the origin story of that?
So that's a cute way of saying, they're doing the nasty.
Okay, the
Ficky Waka.
That's right. All right, the Ficky Waka. It sounds Hawaiian.
So I've always liked that. So I've always used it, to be cute. And she goes to the store to buy him a nice leather jacket and a nice shirt, flannel shirt, and boom, ex-boyfriend right there. And he goes, I've been following you. And he's like a stalker. He's terrible. He's bad. So she tells mom, says, hey, you don't just stop following me. And she leaves. So, she gives him what's what. So that night, or maybe it's a couple of days later, I don't know. There's no dates on this film. They sent another baboon through. And they set it up to look like he might have another failure. But you notice he's not wearing the same suit and tie. He's wearing the shirt that she bought him, which is nice. And the baboon comes out perfect on the other side. And he jumps into Seth's arms, and she's ecstatic. They're both very happy. They decide they're gonna celebrate. And he breaks out the Dom Perignon champagne, and he's gonna order some Chinese. And then she sees something. She sees an envelope up on the top of the piano, and she goes, "Hey, what's this?" And she opens it up, and it's from. He goes, "Oh, that was from your publisher. He slipped it under the door earlier." And it turns out that it's a magazine cover that he's created that shows Seth Brundle, and it talks about his teleportation. So she says, "Look, I'm sorry, I have to go because I have to fix up some things from my past life, and I'll be back." And she goes to see Stathis, and she works out a deal with him where he's going to get the story in the magazine first, because Brundle has fixed the problem with his teleporters. But Seth at that moment is drunk. He drinks the whole bottle of champagne. He's talking to the baboon. He says, "I know what she's doing. She's seeing her ex-boyfriend." And he's jealous. He's upset. So he decides he's going to teleport himself. He goes, "You're fine. You're fantastic. You're wonderful. I'm going to go through." And he decides he's going to send himself through the teleporter. So he sets up the camera to record. He goes in there and doesn't realize there's a fly in the teleporter. The fly was flying around the baboon for a second, and then it goes in the teleporter with him. The door locks. Now that's important. These door locks, they basically signal this is it. It's going to happen. It's locked. You're not going to get out, that kind of thing. So he uses, Cronenberg uses that as a device in this to ratchet up the tension. It's wonderful. Anyway, so there's a nice little moment where the monkey goes over to the pot and puts his little paw up, and he puts his hand up to the window, and he goes through. And he comes out, and he feels great. The monkey comes up to him, so the monkey is not like afraid of him or anything. He's Seth. He's Seth Brundle, right? So we think. Teleportation was successful, it says. So there's no indication that anything went wrong. So she comes back in the middle of the night. He's sleeping on the sofa bed. She wakes him up. He tells her he went through. She goes, "What? What the hell? Why did you do that?" We haven't tested the monkey yet to see if the monkey's okay. I feel fine. I feel great. Wonderful. And there's little hairs growing out of his back.
Not a great sign. Not a great.
Not good. This is what was different from the original Fly. When the original Fly, he comes out, he's got a fly head and a fly claw. But when he comes out in this, he looks just like Jeff Goldblum. So he looks fine. We don't realize that genetically there's stuff going on in his body right now, and it's going to change.
There's been a Kafka.
Yeah. I haven't read the original story. So Dana's not here yet, huh?
Dana walked in right now. He's just getting set up.
Oh,
just another minute.
All right.
Just about 1 minute. As soon as I see a face of Dana, I will be putting him on the screen. Right now, he is.
Ask him to knock once if it's Dana and twice if it's something else.
Okay, Dana, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come live on air. Just give me a thumbs up, buddy. All right.
We just teleported.
Ready. All right,
okay.
He's ready. Here we
Perfect
go.
timing.
Oh, sorry, I was doing homage to the 1956 Fly.
There you go.
If anybody remembers that one, hopefully.
Hey, sorry. We'll do that one eventually. We'll do that one eventually.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this one first, though. I don't know why. I just did. I wanted to do this one first. So we'll do that one eventually. Right. I could have done a double film thing, but luckily I didn't because we've got no icing coming up after. And we don't want to go overtime. So you came in at just the right point because now it's just going to start to get horrific because we've gone through all that stuff in the first 30 minutes of the movie where it's just the relationship between Jeff Goldblum and Geena Davis.
Geena Davis, yes.
So, yeah. So he's gone through the teleportation device and he feels great.
Just like Tony the Tiger. They're great. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. Thurl Ravenscroft did the voice of him. Anyway, I digress. He's doing all kinds of, acrobatic stuff there. And he's doing amazing things. And she gets up and she starts watching him and it's like, uh-oh, how is he able to do this?
Right.
So he thinks that the process purifies you and makes you like superhuman.
Little does he know.
Yeah. He doesn't see the hairs growing out of his back.
Right. Doesn't hear this.
So he's like, he's so happy. And they go on a little vacation. He buys her a nice little heart necklace, which she, by the way, she wears till the very end of the film. That's a symbol. That's a sign that she really still cares about him, even after all the stuff that they go through in the last half of this film. She still cares.
And the thing that happens to her later on, dun dun dun.
Well, if you're referring to The Fly 2,
yes,
where Daphne Zuniga gives birth to his son, that's another one we're going to have to do on the show, is The Fly 2, where Eric Stoltz. And Geena Davis did not come back for that. They ended up using Daphne Zuniga for her scene, where she has crazy. Yeah, and I think she dies during childbirth, right?
I think so, yeah, because whatever.
Which is kind of pointless and tragic, but okay.
Right.
So they're going out for coffee, and he is just dumping sugar into his coffee. She's like, "Hey, you like some coffee without sugar?"
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And you got to be quick with me. I got to be quick.
Right.
So Yeah. So he's again telling her his theory that the going through purifies you and makes you, feel great. And, it might even cause, it might even cure disease and stuff, he's thinking. So,
there's
they have,
whoops, whoop.
Yeah, the Ficky Waka. They're having like marathon nonstop sex. He is totally wearing this woman out.
I was gonna say, yeah, right.
Yeah, and she notices she is the first one to notice the hairs on his back, and they're very coarse, very thick. She cuts a couple of them off with like that looks like tin snips.
Hedge clippers. Wait, I'll be right back.
And she's saying, "Look, I can't have sex anymore. I'm too tired." And he's like, "Why don't you go through the teleportation device?" "No, I'm scared. I don't want to." "Well, get the fuck out then." He gets all upset and he gets all edgy and says, "If you don't want to go through it, I'll find somebody else who does want to go through it, and we'll be perfect together. So we'll have sex all day long, all night long."
I wonder, is that how a fly really works? His mind goes.
I guess the flies like to have sex,
right?
And eat sugar. So he's pounding down the chocolate bars as he's going through the red light district. He gets into a seedy bar, and he sees a girl that he's interested in. And one of her lines in this is, "What do you think? I'm a hooker?"
Ooh,
no,
hey.
no, not at all, not at all.
How you doing, baby?
So he says, "I'll arm wrestle you for the girl." And he's got the enzyme coming out of his fingertips. And he breaks the guy's arm.
Yeah. Oof.
Which is nasty. And everybody freaks out. And he grabs her and takes her out.
The girl's mine.
And she's all drunk. She can't even climb the stairs. So he picks her up and takes her up like 50 flights of stairs. So that shows that, he's kind of superhuman. And he has sex with her. And again, here's an interesting thing, is he's had sex with this girl too, nonstop, all night long. So there's somebody else that might be carrying another little Brundle fly.
Right? The fly 3.
Part 3. I don't know. They never mentioned her in part 2, I don't think so. But she comes out and he's like, "Come on through, go through the teleport with me." And she goes, "I don't want to, I'm afraid." And that's when we get the line, the catchphrase, "Be afraid. Be very afraid." Gina Davis comes in. And to make matters worse, he goes, "This is my mother." Which is a terrible thing to say. The girl obviously realizes this is awkward and I'm leaving. She goes. And again, he's like, you're too chicken shit to go through. And he punches a timber there and, almost breaks it in half. And she's amazed by all of this. And she tells him, "Look, I had those hairs on your back analyzed. There's nothing in nature that they can identify it with." He goes, "But the closest thing the guy said was it's insect hairs." So he won't listen to her. And by the way, if you hadn't noticed in the shots of him going to the bar and all, he's really his skin's looking kind of blotchy, patchy. He's got hairs growing out, he's starting to look a little, I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder if there could be a salve for that.
Like infected. There's something not right there.
Is there an ointment you can use? A fly ointment?
Fly ointment. So he shuts her out. He's like, "No, don't come back. Leave me alone. Get the fuck out." And
what he could use? He could use those fly strips and just put them on like the fly catchers and just strip them on like a Biore pore strip and just boom, fresh skin. Boom.
He would probably like that.
Right.
And right after she leaves, he's pulling fingernails off and he's squirting pus at the mirror, and it's getting really just disgusting and gross right away. Yes. So yeah. So
we could use that for a soup. Sounds good. Yummy.
The next scene, he's on the computer trying to figure out what the hell went wrong, and he's wearing those big, carpenter's gloves. Because his fingers are all messed up. And he finds out there was something else in the teleporter with him.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. So he's like, "Well, what the hell was it?" What the hell was it in the teleporter with me? What do you mean? And it tells him that the secondary element
Not Brundle.
was obviously not him. It was a fly.
But when does he see that? When does he know that? Not until the picture comes up.
There you go. So that little thing over his right shoulder there, that little dot, that little white dot you see over his right shoulder, that's the fly. And it zooms in on it, and we get the picture of the fly. And then the horror hits him. Well, wait a minute. If there was a fly in there, did I absorb the fly?
Excuse me, waiter, there's a fly in my teleportation unit.
Don't tell everybody, all the customers will want one.
I'll just have the soup, okay? I'll just have the pus soup. I'm good. Thank you.
The greatest take on that joke is in the Mel Brooks movie, Silent Movie, where Henny Youngman is sitting in a cafe and he's having soup, and a car crashes that has a fly on top of it. It's one of those insect. The hell is it? Shoot!
I know it'll come to you.
Exterminator
There you go.
trucks, and the fly flies off it, crashes through the window, goes right into his soup, and he looks up and he says the line silently, and we get the card. Waiter, there's a fly in my soup. It's a giant fly.
And then on Coming to America, aha.
That's a good one too. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Aha. So she finally calls. He finally calls Veronica. He says, "Come on over." This is weeks later, a couple weeks later, and she comes, and he is a mess.
That salve didn't work. That Floyd ointment didn't work.
And he grabs a donut and goes to eat, and then he realizes, oh, she doesn't know how I eat now. And it's horrific. And his ear pops off.
Talk about a tribute to Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, so he's falling apart, and she's like, oh my God. She hugs him, which is, that's a sweet sentiment. That's a really nice touch, physically and mentally.
I can't. Oh, sorry. Another movie. Sorry. Continue on.
So she's going to help him, and she goes to Stathis, and she tells him the situation. He's like, don't go back there. You don't know if this thing is contagious or not. And she goes, no, I don't think it's contagious. And he goes, well, don't go back there. And, even though he's a creepy, stalking ex-boyfriend, we all know he's right. We all know he's right. But she goes anyway. She wants to help him. And that speaks miles for her character. And when she goes back, he's up on the roof. On the inside of the place, walking around up on the ceiling. And he comes down.
Hey, waiter, there's a band on my wall.
If I were only a Brundle fly on the wall. Thanks for that line. Thanks for feeding that.
There you go.
So again, he's still, de-evolving. And he decides to do videotapes to show the deceleration, the cancer, or whatever you want to call it. That's tearing him apart. He's saving pieces of himself in the bathroom cabinet, which is kind of weird and nasty. And we'll see a picture of that later.
Should we call it phimosis? Flyeria.
Flyeria. I like that one.
Flyeria.
Let's go with flyeria.
Flyeria. We call it flyeria. New word. It's in the dictionary. Look it up. We'll have Webster at it.
So he's treating it like a kid show. He's like, let Brundlefly show you how he eats, kids. And Stathis is like, what the? Stathis is just hating life right now. But here is something that probably a lot of people don't realize is he is in her apartment again, watching this, which means he's made his way back into her life, and she's crying, and he goes to the bathroom. He goes, "What's wrong?" And she says, "I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant with Seth's baby." So the next scene, they're in a facility where she can have the baby. And she has the baby, and it's a fly worm. Larva, whatever you want to call it.
Larvae soup.
Larva. So it's a really gross scene, and she wakes up and it's a dream. And they got us. The old dream scare.
And too bad it didn't come out of her stomach going, hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my right-time gal.
Everybody's doing the Michigan rag. So we see his hand is evolving. Also, his fingers are becoming big and puffy, and he's still typing on the computer, and he's trying to find a way to reverse the process. And it says fusion by gene splicing of Brundlefly with one or more pure human subjects. I love the fact they put one or more here, which is a serious foreshadowing. Hit in the head with a brick with it. Oh, we know what's going to happen next.
Throw 20 in there. Just pop them out one at a time. Hey, here you go. One.
And what we find out in the second movie, in The Fly 2, is what it means is you got to send somebody in the opposite direction to show the computer how to splice everything back together right.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know that in this film. And he doesn't realize that in this film yet. His son figures it out. Anyway, his teeth come out. So he goes to his little museum there in the bathroom, in the cabinet, and he puts his teeth there with other pieces of things, the ear that fell off and other things that are in the cabinet. Kind of gross. No, it's not kind of. It's very gross.
Old Seth Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch his poor dog an ear.
Here you go. Does he actually say that? It sounds like something. It sounds like something Goldblum would say at this point in this. So there it is. That's the little thing. So we can move past that real quickly now. She comes to tell him about the baby, and she sees how horrible he looks now and how much his situation is advanced. He's got these little nervous tics now, and he's looking up at the light, and he's saying that the fly is taking over, and flies don't care about anybody else but themselves, and he's becoming more and more of Fly and less Seth. And so she just can't tell him. She can't tell him. She breaks down. It's too much for her. She runs out. She runs out to Stathis, who is waiting outside for her. And she says, I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell him about the baby, blah, 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 blah. Not realizing that flies probably have very accelerated hearing or advanced hearing. Huh? Yeah. And yeah, Seth is up on the roof. He's listening to the whole thing. So he knows now that she's pregnant.
On the rooftop, flies do play.
If I were a Seth Brundle on the wall. On the ceiling.
Flyeria. Got my flyeria.
And the next slide is him on the roof listening to them, I think. Yes.
There it is.
Okay, so she says, because of the dream and the nightmare, she says, look, I gotta get rid of this baby now, like now. And he's like, well, we can set it up for, the next couple of days. No, now, like tonight. So he calls a favor of a friend who happens to do abortions. And I go to his office, and she tells him, look, I'm going to have this abortion no matter what. I'll go somewhere else if I have to, but I have to have this abortion. And he's like, well, okay then. And he asks Stathis, is it yours? No. So they take her into the that's a nice little smack to the face of Stathis. They take her into the waiting room there and tell her, okay, you get ready and we'll be in and we'll do the procedure. And they leave her. And that's when Seth crashes in. Comes right in there and takes her up to the roof. Because he can. Man, he is a mess.
But he doesn't fly yet. He only crawls, which is interesting. So should he be maybe Spider-Man?
Yeah, you know what? You never see wings on him in this film. Right. I'm not sure why, but you don't ever see wings on him. Even in his final evolved stage, you don't see the wings. So he grabs her and he takes her up to the roof. Let's go ahead and zip through these because we only have a few minutes left.
Uh-oh.
And he comes in, Stathis comes in to see them leave, so he knows where they're going. They're going back to his warehouse. So he heads that way, and she admits to him up on the roof, yeah, I'm going to have a baby. And he's like, you know, he wants the baby. So he takes her back there. And Stathis is waiting. He brought a shotgun. But here's something that I want to tell to you. If you're going to fight a human fly with a shotgun, please put the shotgun together and load it before you come into the warehouse.
The more you know. The more you know.
Be prepared ahead of time, because he could jump out at any
Scout.
time, like he does here. He could jump out at any time, and then you know, vomit on your hand and disintegrate your hand with his enzymes, which he does. So it makes him drop the shotgun. That's my sound. My impersonation of his vomiting to eat.
What about my Buick?
Vampires go blah blah blah. He goes.
That picture is just so wrong right there.
And the funny thing is, nice. That would hurt.
Which is actually wax.
That would hurt a lot.
Looks like wax. Yeah.
In the second movie, because he almost does it to the guy's face. I mean, he is like a split hair second away from doing it to this guy's face. Which as someone who watches a horror movie, you probably want to see that. They did it to a security guard in the second movie. He vomits on a guy's face, and it just disintegrates the whole top of the body.
Made me think of Raiders of the Lost Ark when they melt.
Yeah, probably the same guys. Looks like Tote. Yeah. That looks like Tote.
Yeah,
So okay, and then he goes to his foot, and he does it to his foot. And pulls the shoe off. Isn't that nice? Then he goes to do it to his face, and he's about to pass out from shock. I mean, this is man. And she stops him. No, please don't. I know he was in my shower, and I know he was stalking me, and he came up to me. I know, and I was buying you a leather jacket, but don't. So she saves him, which is good because he ends up saving her in a few minutes. So he grabs her, brings her back down to the floor. He jumps up there, grabs her, brings her down to the floor, and he says, I'm going to put you through so we can all fuse together in the third pod, and we'll all be one big happy family, Brundle family, yes. So she's like, no, I don't want to do it. No, that's horrible. And she smacks him in the face, knocks his chin completely off.
Bit. Puts a whole new term to Beetlejuice. Bit.
And of course, that starts the transformation. That's the trigger right there. This starts the complete transformation of everything that's left of him is falling off this thing that's a fly now. His hands, the hands become fly hands, claws. Stuff's coming out of his back. His feet, legs completely change. All the skin falls off, the human skin, and he becomes the fly finally.
Leprosy, I'm not half the man. Or no, flyeria, I'm not half the man I used to be. It doesn't matter. Okay. Ooh, there we go.
I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a giant fly coming out of me.
Oh, I believe in flyeria. We have to find something to rhyme.
Flyeria.
Next episode. Tune in next time when we have that word song together.
Well, at least this one, earlier I tried to do something like that, and it was a disaster. So I'm glad that this one, I've redeemed myself.
Two great minds working on together. There we go.
So he throws her into the first pod and closes up. And again, we get that lock, from David Cronenberg saying, look, this is serious now. We're locking her in, ratcheting up that tension. Luckily, he didn't pass out completely. He gets up and gets the shotgun. And I don't know if you've ever tried to shoot a shotgun with one hand. Not easy. No. But he actually gets it over his stump. This guy is man, he's like Chuck Norris. We were talking about Chuck Norris earlier. He even looks like Chuck Norris. And he amazingly knows exactly what to shoot at, too. He disconnects the first pod with a shotgun blast from the rest of the system. The fly is upset. He's put himself in the second pod. So he breaks through the window because he's a fly now. He's not thinking human anymore. He breaks through the window of his pod. Bad idea. because this thing is sequencing. It's got 2 minutes to go, and it's down to like 15 seconds, and he's breaking to open the pod.
15.
So
14.
he gets halfway out that window, and it looks like he's gonna, get out and kill the guy. And the sequence starts, and it fuses Brundlefly. There it is. 1 second. Fuses Brundlefly with pieces of the door of the telepod. Ew. He's got pieces of metal and tubing and stuff now in his body as part of his genetic makeup. So he's just a mess. Yeah, he's just a mess. So he comes out of the third pod, and they, Gina Davis and gets out of her pod. It opens up, and Stathis is miraculously still, not passed out from shock, having his foot and arm disintegrated.
Written in the script.
And so she gets the shotgun, and when they see this thing come out of the pod, it's like, ooh, yeah. So he comes up to her, and he is just pitiful. I mean, yeah, he's got chunks of door hanging out of his back.
Need new surgery? Try this. Try door infusion. Boom.
And he actually puts his little fly claw up there, grabs the shotgun, and puts it to his head. He goes, "Kill me now." That's his way of saying, "Kill me now," which is, poor fly, Brundlefly. So she doesn't want to do it. She's crying. She's upset, but he's just a mess. So she kills him. It's a mercy killing. Boom.
And that's it. Boom.
Next slide. Boom.
Seth, go boom. Flyer.
Very boom. So that's it. He's done. It's over. She cries. End credits.
Tune in next time when we see her say.
As Stathis. Joy Bouchel as Tawny. What do you think? I'm a hooker? Dr. Cheevers, Les Carlson. The friend who does abortions. Again, David Cronenberg did a slick job on this movie. There's so many levels to this. I can't even begin to tell you. And again, he delivers in the last quarter. The last third, actually, he delivers the scares. He delivers the goods. So again, we got to get ready for another show that's coming up in a couple of minutes. But thank you for joining us for the scary part of this movie.
Yes, it was great to be here. I'm glad I could catch part of it.
And love the flyeria. Perfect.
The
Flyeria. Hey, wait, there's a flyer.
You have gone through a pod and you're feeling kind of odd.
Flyeria.
Flyeria. Yes.
Awesome. Wait,
we did it.
Hang on.
So happy 2023 to you, Dana.
Yes, happy New Year to you too.
You're succeeding and doing wonderful things with it. As a scare actor, we appreciate your input on this this movie.
Great to be here.
And we'll see you soon, I hope.
All right.
Major Hazzard, thank you for everything.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Dana. Wonderful show.
We're going to go join No Icy now.
All right.
Keep an eye out for those big monsters.